what is this state? What does it mean to have a Jewish state? What does it mean to have a Jewish state that's secure? What are the requisites of defense? What are defensible borders? These are all issues of power, but they relate to the way power integrates with Jewish statehood. Are we a state like any other state? Are we something special? What would Americans do like this? Who cares what Americans would do in this situation? And what is interesting is that ultimately, starting in the late 1980s, certainly increasing in the late 1990s and after 2000, the Arabs, having tried several times to destroy us by large-scale conventional means, developed a new tactic known generally as terror, which hits us right in our debate about power. It really goes right to the core of what we're about. Because to counter terror, we have to use power in ways that clash directly, like head-on, with our Jewish principles. No question about it. For example, Israel, I venture, could have stopped terror from Gaza, for example, in about 40 seconds. It would have been very easy to do this. All you had to do was make an announcement to the Palestinians that the next time they send over one suicide bomber, or later on, next time they send over one Qassam rocket, we have these things called 155 millimeter guns. One of the shells of the 155 millimeter guns can really ruin your day. I could probably take out most of this neighborhood. One of these shells. We have many hundreds, if not thousands, of these guns. We're going to line them up along the border of Gaza, and the next time, just even one Qassam rocket comes over, we're just going to give an order, let them fire a barrage for 30 seconds. Terror would have ended. No question. Wouldn't have been left there to find any more Qassam rockets. Terror would have ended. Why didn't we do this? Would the Americans have done that? Yeah. Would the French have done it? Yeah.
Sure.
The Russians have done it? No question about it. Why didn't we do this?
Different situation with America.
Why? Because we look bad on CNN?
Well, because the whole debate about. I mean, I'm totally more to the right, so don't get me wrong, but
Right.
the view is that we are occupying different land. It's a different fight between people who are occupied and people who aren't. You're going to get more of the same argument with America in Iraq. It's going to be more similar to Israel and Palestinians than America being attacked on its own land.
Put it this way. Hypothetical. All right, there's a state just above Montana. And it's called, I don't know, Inimical Land. And it's not Canada. And they're sending over terrorist bombers. It's a densely populated state. What would be the United States' response to that?
I don't buy that argument because that's all hypothetical. It's not how the world is right now.
Okay.
I buy the article. The argument the world's given us is that this is the excuse the world's given us that the Palestinians have the right to do this because we're occupying them.
But I also don't think that. I mean, that's not necessarily. There are other cases where it happens and no one blinks an eye.
I'm going to give you an example right now. Okay, you're just a step ahead of me. 1982. Israel is in Beirut. I'm in Beirut, and there is a large Palestinian refugee camps that if the Israeli army goes in there, a lot of guys are going to die. Instead of having the Israeli army go in there, then Defense Minister Oren says, why don't we just send our Lebanese Christian allies in there and they'll patrol the area. So they go in and they kill 800 Palestinian men, women, and children. These are not people we're occupying. It's not the West Bank. It's not Gaza. They go in and they perform a serious massacre, an egregious massacre. The next day, 1/5 of the state of Israel comes out to the street to protest and actually ends up bringing down the government, forces Sharon to resign, forces the chief of staff to resign. Flash forward to 2001, 2002, when American forces are fighting in Afghanistan. And there are areas in northern Afghanistan that are really problematic because it's full of Taliban. George Bush decides to send in the Northern Alliance. The Northern Alliance goes in there and kills 5,000 people. Some people, by the way, put in trucks and gassed. Gassed. Was there a peep, and I mean a peep, a single peep in the United States? Was there one protest in the United States? He did exactly the same thing Arik Sharon did.
I think there probably were protests, but I think that's a better example for you to give than to give the example of hitting the West Bank or Gaza with the thing.
More examples. Just one, go ahead.
Sorry, you could also argue, though, that what was, what I think you're saying is a manifestation of the Jewish consciousness that prevents us from doing this, is actually the Jewish fear of powerlessness, because our powerlessness is at the superstate level. We're afraid of becoming a pariah state if we act like this, and that's really the only thing keeping us from doing it.
Or is it that we have been on the receiving end of power, bad power, so often that we are more sensitive to the impact of power?
But I think it's a positive thing to not gas people on trucks.
Yeah.
And so I would rather us not do that.
Is this a positive thing?
What?
I'll give you another example that may not be such a positive thing. Beginning of the Iraq War, this latest Iraq War, this is in April 2003, there was when everyone was sort of looking around for Saddam Hussein to kill during shock and awe. There was a rumor floated around that King Hussein was having a lunch in a certain neighborhood in Baghdad. And so the Americans sent along some B-52 bombers, and they not only took out the restaurant, they took out the entire neighborhood. They killed dozens of people. He wasn't there. Hey, accidents happen. Not a peek from anybody. 2002, there was a report in Israel that some Hamas leaders were having dinner in a certain house in Gaza, and Israel sent a jet over and not hit this house with a 1,000-pound bomb. And the house was poorly made, and the whole thing collapsed. And it turned out that the Hamas leader managed to escape, but 14 civilians, including a great number of children, were killed. This issue of killing the 14% has subsequently tore Israel apart. It reached the Supreme Court. It's still in the Supreme Court. A huge case. The next time we learn that the entire Hamas leadership, not one guy, the entire that was having dinner in one house in Gaza, there was a debate in the Israel in the general staff of the army whether to use a 1,000-pound bomb or a 500-pound bomb. Whereas the 500-pound bomb, maybe they allowed it to get away, the Hamas guys, but the 1,000-pound bomb is liable to collapse a whole other house, and we'd have the same situation again. They decided to use the 500-pound bomb, and guess what? Everybody in the Hamas leadership got away unscathed. They went on to kill a lot of Jews. Right? Good thing or bad thing that we used the 500-pound bomb instead of the 1,000-pound bomb?
Bad thing.
Bad thing, okay.